Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you are new. If you are new here, my name is Elena and I am the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. Here on this channel, we talk about everything from homeschooling and homemaking, all the things in between, books, freezer meals, day in the lives, getting it done, all the things. Today, we're going to talk about some goals. So if you'd like to catch up on some of my other goals, I try to put them out there for accountability and to see if I can create a little family of people encouraging one another with our goals and just cheering one another on. But I will link the playlist to them. I think it's on a playlist. I will link that for you both up in the cards and then down in the description box down below too. I will kind of run over what my October goals were. I usually set goals in 3 major areas, and then during our homeschool year I have a homeschooling goal that I add on, and then for the month of October I added a 5th section, which was my budget. So for November I'm going to do all 5 of those sections again and just kind of update and let you know where I'm at. The first one for the month of October was our budget. I had spent lots on our grocery budget and household budget. The way that we handle our finances, our groceries and household is one just combined unit for us. So that means all our food and all our toiletries or cleaning supplies, things like that, anything we need for the home gets combined into that kind of overall grocery budget. There wasn't a lot of wasteful spending per se. Some of it was increased. I'm sure lots of us are seeing increases in our budget, especially our grocery budgets and gas budgets, but it was just buying stuff and not really checking my menu plan, not having a set grocery list, just going on into the grocery store. So I wanted to kind of dial it back and take a good look at what we had and make sure that I was being a good steward of the groceries that we did have and the budget we had separate. So for the month of October, we did manage to kind of rein it in a little bit. It was a little bit more than it has been, but I expect that that's going to be the case, especially as we roll into some higher prices and things in this world, but also as we get closer to the holidays. Holidays are just really a special time, and it goes kind of hand in hand for us anyways, that we want to make some special meals and things like that if we're able to, and we like to be able to bless other families if we can too. So for the month of November, for my budget goal, I just want to make sure that I'm keeping better track of my budget. I kind of was just letting it go too far and then having to play catch up and put in all of our finances and making sure that everything balanced. So for the month of November, I would like to keep better tabs on it. What we were doing before was having a weekly budget meeting with my husband. And that was a super simple meeting where I just sat down with him either on a Friday night or Saturday. We'd have a drink together and I would just run down where our finances were sitting at, what we were looking at, our spending versus our income, and how we were feeling about things and anything that we wanted to change. It's just really important to both my husband and I that we are both on the same page in our budget, because it's such a big part of families. So we want to make sure that we're on the same page and that we're in agreement with how we're spending or not spending or saving or whatever it is. So for the month of November, I would like to get back to those budget meetings and make sure that we're tracking a little bit better. I also need to start a kind of holiday budget. We do have a little bit set aside, and when I say a little bit, it is a little, but it's okay, because for us, like I said, really the holidays kind of are more for spending quality time together and finding ways to bless each other and really good food. So, but that is a budget that we want to lay out and have, and I want to make sure that we are setting that up and just kind of having a number that we can kind of aim to stay within. I notice that when we just kind of are buying gifts for the kids or running to the grocery store and there is no budget, it always ends up in overspending. And so I just want to make sure that we're really being mindful of it and that we're starting to set up our holiday budgets. The next area that I set goals in is my faith, and that is just kind of where I'm at spiritually. So I wanted to set up for October, what I did set up for, or what my goal was, was to get back into Bible reading on a more daily basis. I am doing the Bible recap. If you've seen the other videos, I'm sure I've mentioned it before. before. I will link that for you as well, though, because it is reading the Bible chronologically in 1 year, but your year can start whatever day you want it on. You don't have to wait for January 1st to start picking it up and following the plan. You can start wherever you would like. So I had kind of fallen back on that, and I wanted to make sure that I was getting back in the Word. I also, in the month of October, had set up a goal to read The Power of a Praying Parent online on Instagram. So for October, I did not go on Instagram and read that book through. For, I believe it was September, I went through The Power of the Praying Wife on Instagram. But I found that this October, this month, I needed to take a step back from social media. And I'm not really on Facebook, and so I needed to step back from Instagram as well. The only really social media that you'll find me on the regular is here on YouTube. But I just was really, it just, like so many others I'm sure can relate, it was weighing very heavily on my soul, and I just needed to refocus my attention and where I was keeping my eyes on. And so for me, I needed to step away from this world and step closer to God. And so that's what I decided to do. I decided that I was not going to go onto Instagram. In fact, I went ahead and deleted it from my phone to keep the temptation kind of away from me. So I didn't end up going through that book online on Instagram. I'm okay with that. I do apologize if you were hoping to see that and go through it with me. I may end up having a newsletter and doing something similar to this another time, but it's just something that I will probably work towards in the future, not anything that I have set up just now. But for now, I did not reach that goal, and I'm okay with it. I also wanted to start reading one of the books. I was going to start reading Uninvited, and I did start, but I did not finish. I think I had just put too much on my plate, trying so desperately to get back into the Word. I was trying all the things. So what ended up working well for me is plain and simple, getting in the Word and reading the Bible. So for the month of November, I'm going to continue on with the reading plan, and I would also like to implement making sure that I'm journaling and I'm just kind of writing things out. I really enjoy that. I also have thought about maybe looking up Bible journaling or something like that. It just seems like something that I would enjoy. I'm not sure in my Bible journal, the video, I will link that for you too when I got it set up. Originally I had two separate kind of Bible prayer planner journals. It'll make sense if you watch the video, I promise. And what I ended up doing was combining the two. And in one of them, I was doing putting stickers in and just kind of decorating a little bit more. And I really enjoyed that. So I think that I would like to maybe, if I have time, I'm not going to put too much pressure on this, if I have time to look up maybe some Bible journaling videos or things like that and see if that's something that I would enjoy. The next area that we set goals in, or that I set goals in, is family. And the reason I probably said we is because this affects more than just myself. So for family in October, we wanted to set up a bedtime routine for my kiddos, just a way to kind of get them settled in and get their bodies prepared and ready for bedtime. So we did end up setting one. My husband and I sat down and we kind of looked at and thought about what we wanted bedtime to look like. So not all the things that we said we wanted it to look like came through, but some really major ones did, and I'm so glad that we had that moment to talk and do it. One of the things we wanted to make sure we were doing, especially with my youngers, was praying with them or reading a devotional at night before they went to bed. And we have found a devotion and we're reading that with them. There is another devotion that I'd like to get them, but that may be something that we end up doing for Christmas. And the reason that I say, especially with my younger two, is because my oldest is 14, and he understands that if he would like prayer with us, he's always open to ask, and he has asked. But he has also expressed that he does understand and know how to pray on his own, and sometimes that's just needed when you just need to be alone and pray. And so we don't put too much on him for that, but he does kind of have his own little set bedtime routine, so he's taken care of too. So for November, Also for October, I wanted to make sure that I was getting some more outside time with the kiddos, especially as the weather was turning, and we have been getting more outside time. We've definitely been taking advantage of the days where the sun is shining, because we've had some gray days, we've had some really cold overcast days, and we're probably gearing up for snow pretty soon. So we did take advantage of those days, but I would like to continue on that path and make sure that we're making outside time a priority. So for November, I would like to continue on with making sure that we're getting out of doors and just kind of hanging out outside in nature. But I also would like to fine tune any bedtime routine things that we think we're maybe missing. Maybe just more on a timeline for them or routine, because we are doing the evening devotional and prayer, but as far as like what order they put their PJs on and brush their teeth, it's kind of getting a little laxed and just here and there, so it gets very abrupt. We let them watch television, but then we're still finding that as soon as we turn the TV off and are like, hey, brush teeth and get into your PJs, there's this unnatural fight to not do it. So we think we need a better transition into that. So we're going to kind of take a look and see if we can fine tune anything. If you have any ideas, would you comment and leave them down below? We are open to hearing it. So I would love to do that. And then also, this past month, both my husband and I were able to spend a little one-on-one time with the kids. So my husband was actually able to take my daughter out on a little daddy-daughter date. It was very impromptu. In fact, it wasn't anything fancy at all, but they had just such a great time, and we have been doing this and trying to make it a priority, but like things, it kind of fell to the wayside when other stuff happened. Actually, when we moved, I think that's kind of when it first began breaking down, and we never really were purposeful in getting back to it. So I would like to make sure that we are setting out time to kind of carve out special moments with our kids and little parent children date. The fourth area was my fitness, and September I completely just kind of fell to the wayside, and I fell off the wagon, and just, I mean, it darn near ran me over. So I feel like October finished that job off. I was supposed to just get back to it, and I started off October with a bang, and then I just didn't. I think for the month of October, though, the thing that I was fighting against was the weather turning and it being really cold. Where I tend to work out is in the basement, so I didn't work out as many times as I wanted to. For the month of November, I'm going to try to find different ways of working out or different workouts I can do besides just going down into the basement. So whether that's getting up early on a Saturday or Sunday and taking a long brisk walk, evening walk, I'm not sure. I do still want to incorporate the workouts down in the basement, lifting weights. I really enjoy that. So maybe it's just a matter of finding a better time throughout the day to do that. Maybe when it's a little bit warmer. I'm not sure. The thing is, I'm not sure, and I'd like to figure out a better rhythm and routine to that. So that's going to be my goal for November. In addition to that, I have been doing better with drinking my water, which can get hard in the colder months for me too, and still taking my vitamins. So I want to make sure that I stay on top of that and I don't exchange one healthy habit for another. So I'm just kind of want to keep going back and adding on one step at a time. And then the last area is our homeschool. So for October, I wanted to get used to our new schedule. We had added in some occupational therapy and speech for my son, thanks to God. And so October ended up being where it was not a set schedule, if that makes sense. There were some hit and misses, but it's okay. We were able to roll with the punches and just kind of get going and making a routine or a rhythm from it. Really, not really a routine because there wasn't set times. So for November, I would just like to continue on with that that kind of mindset where we don't become derailed if something is new or different. Mamas of special kiddos, or even just kids who have that personality where they like to know a schedule and it's comforting to them, know that when you have a, not an interruption, but when you have something that is out of the norm, or you had planned to do something and then it doesn't happen, or something else happens first, sometimes that can be hard for them. Sometimes honestly it can be hard for me. So I know that I kind of take the lead in that area, and if I become anxious or overthink it, as I tend to do sometimes, it can trickle out to my kids. So I would like to continue on with the kind of rolling with it and just understanding we are where we are meant to be and everything is okay with that. So for the month of November, for our homeschool goals, I would like to continue just going with it, but also because the holidays are coming up, I would like to start prepping and planning for some holiday schooling. There are some special things that I always want to do around the holidays, and I'd like to be intentional about some of the things. This is going to sound so counterproductive or it's going to sound like I'm not saying the same thing, but I would like to prep and plan for some holiday schooling while at the same time making sure we have time to relax and enjoy it. So I hope that this makes sense. I do hope to put out another video or two on how we're doing this and what our plans are for that. But I essentially would like to make sure that we are scheduling some downtime for us, just really enjoying and soaking up being able to still continue homeschooling and the privilege that that entails for us. But at the same time, I would really like us to focus on the reason for our holidays. So for November, I would really like us to focus on gratitude and giving thanks for all that we have. And then for December, I would really like us to focus on the reason for Christmas for us, that is, we celebrate the birth of Jesus. And so I would really like to make sure that we are just kind of soaking that in. And that is it. That's going to do it for me. I realize as I'm saying that's it, it feels like a lot. But once I break it down and just kind of put it into little categories like this, kind of subcategories, it doesn't feel like so much at one time. And like you've seen, sometimes we hit it and sometimes we don't. And that's going to be okay. I'm working on giving myself more grace in these areas. So I would love to know if you set out monthly goals or if you set out quarterly ones, what they are, how can I be cheering you on. If you feel comfortable and you want to, comment them down below. Let's cheer one another on. Let's build a community that is uplifting and helpful. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Thanks again.